If you're anything like me, you might have been confused by the nutritional labels on the back of products. Take Smart Food popcorn, for example. The label reads that with a total of 100 calories per serving, 60% of those calories are from fat, while the cholesterol intake from one serving adds up to roughly 1% of your daily value. But what does this all mean? Well, both cholesterol and saturated fats are types of lipids. Lipids act as our body's long-term energy storage. Bears, for example, use lipids from acorns and salmon to combat winter hunger pains, while seals use lipids to form their blubbery outer layer. As structure determines function, the chemical shape of lipids is essential to its ability to store energy. Lipids have long hydrocarbon chains that bond with other elements such as oxygen to form nonpolar, fat-soluble compounds. The exact chemical structure of the lipid depends on whether it is a steroid such as a cholesterol, a fat, or a phospholipid. One of the most important types of lipids are steroids. Cholesterol is a dietary steroid that aids in the production of hormones, vitamin D, and food digestives. Like all steroids, cholesterol, or C27H46O, has a steroid nucleus with 3 6-membered carbon rings and 1 5-membered carbon ring. The production of cholesterol is a little complex. A portion of the food that we eat is transformed into cholesterol when the molecule acetyl-CoA combines with the enzyme HMG-CoA in the liver. The cholesterol then travels through the bloodstream in lipoproteins, special particles with lipid interiors and protein exteriors. There are two types of lipoproteins. The quote-unquote bad lipoproteins are the low-density lipoproteins, or LDL, which contribute to plaque buildup in the arteries and can lead to atherosclerosis and, in extreme cases, death. The good lipoproteins, or the high-density lipoproteins, work to reverse the effects of the LDL by carrying the LDL away from the arteries and back to the liver. When the work of the HDL is insufficient to counteract the LDL buildup, doctors may prescribe statins, which decelerate the rate of cholesterol production by inhibiting the HMG-CoA enzyme. Fats are another type of lipid. All fats have a similar structure of 3 fatty acid chains bonded to a glycerol molecule, hence the scientific name triglycerides. But this is where it gets a little tricky. While all fatty acid chains are made up of carbon bonded to hydrogen, the amount of bonds depend on whether the fat is saturated or unsaturated. In saturated fats, each carbon molecule is bonded to 2 other carbon molecules and 2 hydrogen molecules. This zigzag structure allows for easy stacking and explains why saturated fats are often solid at room temperature. Think cheese. Unsaturated fats, on the other hand, have a carbon double bond, which reduces the amount of hydrogen in the molecule. This double bond creates a kink in the overall structure, making it bad at stacking and explaining why unsaturated fats are often liquids at room temperature. Think olive oil. Currently, researchers are looking into the possibility of triglyceride-based diesel fuels. While triglycerides can fuel engines, their high viscosities and low volatilities have made triglyceride derivatives more attractive. These biofuels would be renewable and would not emit CO2 gas. In terms of automobile fuels, triglycerides are where it's at. The last category of lipids is phospholipids. The phospholipids are made up of 2 fatty acid chains and a glycerol attached to a phosphate group. Phospholipids make up membranes of cells of many organisms with the phospholipid bilayer. The glycerol and phosphate group are polar, and the fatty acid chains, one of which is saturated and the other which is unsaturated, are nonpolar. The polar quote-unquote head is hydrophilic and faces towards the outside of the layer, while the nonpolar hydrophobic tail faces inwards, allowing for selective permeability. In modern medicine, propofol, a general anesthetic, is coated with phospholipids to prevent bacterial growth and allow for a longer shelf life. Unlike the previously used vegetable oils, phospholipids don't contain nutrients, which means no bacterial contamination. The phospholipids also act as self-sterilizers when combined with the propofol formula, making them effective microdroplet coverings. You go, phospholipids! Lipids are essential for life. Without an adequate amount of lipids, your body would suffer from vitamin deficiency, your skin would dry and become bumpy, your bones and muscles would deteriorate, you'd experience night blindness, confusion, fatigue, and depression, and your chances of cardiovascular problems and strokes would increase tremendously. While the structures of steroids, fats, and phospholipids can only be seen under a microscope, their influence is clear even to the naked eye.